game.
Well, I think we should throw this question out, and we've got some open spots here if you guys want to chime in. 651-646-8255. You can also tweet us your thoughts at Score North, and we are monitoring the video chats on Twitch, on Periscope, and on Facebook. Did today what was your opinion, or what was your thought on how far the Vikings can go and what their record can be going into week one? And now that you've seen this week one dominating victory over the Falcons, which was just every box Mike Zimmer wanted to check, he checked in week one. And we'd like to know your thoughts now that you've seen something, now that you've seen 3 hours of Vikings football and a 1-0 record. 651-646-8255. I think they start 6-2. I'm looking at their schedule right now. So they're 1-0, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I think they start 6-2. And I have them at 11-5 on the season, but I'd like to see the first half and then maybe reassess. So Packers are going to be feisty next week.
Yep.
You're going to Green Bay. It's going to be tightly contested. Aaron Rodgers, we'll see what he's like here over the long run. But Oakland at home in week 3, that's a guaranteed win. At Chicago in week 4, I think Mitch Trubisky is the second coming of Christian Ponder, and I think you can fluster him, but that's just a really hard spot for the Vikings to win, and that's a great defense.
And they never play well in Chicago, ever.
At the Giants, home against Philly, at Detroit, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then home against Washington. I think you win all of these home games. So you play 4 home games out of your first 8. So I think you win all 4 of those home games, and then I think they split 2-2 the 4 road games in the first 8. So I'll give them like a loss to Chicago, or I'll give them maybe a loss to the Giants, even though I think they're a better team than the Giants. The road gets weird, but I think I think the schedule sets up for them to start 6-2, Manny.
Yeah, I agree on the record. I would say if it were me, I would probably flip-flop the Giants and Eagles results. I'd probably give them a win at New York. The Giants, I like Pat Shurmur, but I don't know how good that team is going to be this year. There's no Odell Beckham. I mean, Eli Manning is just like a corpse of a quarterback right now. And I'm a big fan of Pat Shurmur, but I just don't think that's a very good position, although they just jumped up 7-0 on the Cowboys right now. That I could see the Vikings go on the road and winning that game. The Philadelphia game the next week, though, I think could be tough. Philadelphia is really good, and they've got Deshaun Jackson back, and he's probably re-energized. I mean, he showed it today. He's re-energized being back in Philadelphia. Carson Wentz can stay healthy for a full season. We'll see about that. They've got some weapons on offense, and they've got some monsters on defense too. Fletcher Cox is really, really, really good, and that's going to be a challenge for Garrett Bradbury and Pat Elflein and those guys. So that I do think that 6-2 looks really realistic, I think, though, for the first half of the season. This team has a chance to be really, really good.
And then, it's so hard to predict the second half of schedules because there's always teams that pop up. I don't know what Dallas is going to be. I think I think Dallas is taking a step forward this year. At Dallas on November 10th is a tough one. We look at Kansas City on November 3rd, and based on their offensive performance today, nothing really changed. Although Tyreek Hill left the game early, and we don't know what his status is going to be going forward.
Yep.
But at Seattle, never an easy place to play. But if Seattle is one-dimensional in that game, do the Vikings go in as favorites? The second half on paper looks like there's a lot of tough games at Chargers. But again, Phillip Rivers is right up against an age cliff too, and who knows what happens if.
And there'll be a lot of Vikings fans there that Sunday night. I think
we know there probably won't be a lot of Chargers fans.
Probably not. No,
if history is any indication. So, but we're all over the chat boxes here too, just on the live video streams. And I see. Let me just pull this up here. The Twitch box. I see some people in here. Shout out to Daniel Collins. Appreciate you watching the Twitch stream right now. And somebody says here on the Twitch comments, Manny, I'd like to see fewer penalties on defense.
Yeah.
Especially no offside penalties. I guess if you're looking for things to nitpick today, penalties might be one of them. There was a couple sloppy, like Kirk Cousins was definitely charged with 2 fumbles. One of them you could say was a bad snap. The penalties, the Vikings wound up with
11
for 100 yards even.
Atlanta had 9. There were 20 penalties in the game today.
you're not going to be, and I would say the Vikings had a bad challenge too on a pass interference call. Like you can't get super happy with challenging pass interference just because you're able to challenge it doesn't mean that you should pull the trigger on that.
Right.
So like, are you going to win games when you get 11 penalties racked up against you? Probably not, but
no,
those are nitpicky things.
That's definitely something they got to clean up. And there were a few times, and Linda pointed it out when she called in, that, Everson Griffin is, Everson's kind of done that his entire career. He's always been kind of prone to jumping the snap and jumping off sides a little bit early. I think with that, if they can avoid doing that in crucial situations, if they can avoid doing that on 3rd and 3, or if you get a big stop on a 3rd and 12 and, Everson has jumped offside too early and giving the opponent another down. If you can avoid situations like that, I think they'll be okay. They'll be able to overcome. I mean, the teams are going to commit penalties. It's going to happen. No team is going to go an entire game with committing 1 or 2 penalties on a regular basis. It happens sometimes, but not all the time. But yeah, that's something that 11 penalties. And Mike Zimmer will be the first person to tell you, like, that's way too many. If anybody's going to nitpick what happened today, it is actually going to be Mike Zimmer, and I think he'll point right to the penalties.
Yeah. So let's take our first break here of Vikings Vent Line. That's Manny Hill. I'm Phil Mackey. AJ Fredrickson is taking your calls at 651-646-8255. We're also video streaming live right now on our Twitter/Periscope account, on Facebook, and on Twitch. And we also have a blossoming YouTube channel that you can find all kinds of Vikings content on, just youtube.com/ScoreNorth. This is Vikings Vent Line on the all-new Score.